Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to all those joining us online. We are really glad to have you with us today. It's a pleasure to host Mr. Kiran Vijayan with over 13 years of experience in HR across manufacturing setups and managing large teams. His journey is truly inspiring. He brings valuable expertise in areas like talent acquisition, employee relations, and organizational development, especially in complex environmental industrial environments. It's also great to see his commitment to continuous learning with the CHRO program from IIM Kozhikode. As a part of our HRM end-term project, we are very grateful for this opportunity to interact with you and learn from your experiences. So once again, a warm welcome to you, sir, and to everyone joining us. We are really looking forward for this conversation. Over to you, Akshay.
Thank you, Rohit, for passing on the thoughts. Kiran, sir, before we can dive in, let me introduce you to each one because we haven't met formally. So this is Akshay here. I work at Gartner. And starting from my first left, it is Anirudh here, who has been working with Lionbridge Technologies. And then we have Kiran, who has been working with Bosch Global Technologies. And we have Tapas Kumar Behra, who has been working with StudyArc. And we have Magdum, who has been working as a business operations at Veranda Learning. And we have Karandeep, who is from Coursera here. And Shreya Simandar from Oracle. And Rohit, as you know, is from MRF. And Gaurav is from Deloitte. And Narayan Swamy is from Boeing. And Prajwal belongs to Cisco. And Romy is from Urban Company. I wanted to keep it precise, so it's just easier. So we are all from different backgrounds, having different expertise in different domains. So to kick off things here, since you're from the HR journey and you have been contributing a lot in the last 13 years, could you tell us like how your role has evolved over the years and how you have learned that managing people has its own challenges and the organization dynamics behind it?
Sure, sure. First of all, thank you, Rohit, for that introduction, and Akshay to you as well. I hope that I get to know you guys better over the period of whatever time we get to have, maybe next 45 minutes to 1 hour. So, if I talk about my journey, all right. So I started at 2008. I did my graduation in economics. I did my master's in human resource management. I initially joined in the corporate sector. Okay, so actually, people transit from manufacturing to corporate. I had the opportunity to work in the corporate sector initially. I was working with um, Adani Enterprises. Okay, this was way back in 2008. And I was there with Adani for a short period of time. I was part of their recruitment team. But then, this was the global financial crisis, very well, 2008. So
Yeah.
I then, recruitment was totally stopped. It was frozen. And I did not have, I was a management trainee and a junior executive back then. So I thought in the best interest, I should move out. I got, I got another opportunity with a wonderful company called Claris Life Sciences. So Claris, again in the corporate sector in Ahmedabad, I was at the corporate office managing all corporate HR related activities. I was there for a period of 2 years. And then I thought that, I am having good experience in corporate HR related functions. So everything except for recruitment. So then I got an opportunity to go to Cadila Pharma, where I thought that that मुझे अभी तक recruitment का experience नहीं मिला. I feel it is very vital for me to learn that. So I joined Cadila Pharma. I was there for 1.5 years, and then I had to come back to Baroda. Baroda is where I belong to. My parents are there. So I joined a small company called Chemcon Specialty Chemicals. So I mean, these were big companies: Adani, Claris Life Sciences, Cadila Pharma. And initial few years, I mean, if you see, this was like 2008 to 2013. So 5 years, and I had already switched 3 companies. I'm highlighting this because you are also, all of you are working, it already, but there is a thing called stability that I realized back in 2013, that I was making a lot of moves here and there, and although there was some one reason or the other, but companies felt that that how long is this guy going to stay with us? Okay, he might have potential, but then he seems to be changing for the sake of it. So then I made a decision. One was that the next company I'll go to, I'll stay there for at least a period of 3 years. So I joined a company called Chemcon Specialty Chemicals. It was a growing company. It's now a listed company, but back then it was quite small. But being small had its advantages. This was, in big companies, you tend to work in silos. So if you are in recruitment, you're going to do only recruitment. But but this was a small company, so you have all the freedom to explore and learn. And it was a manufacturing setup as well. My first experience in manufacturing, I had no idea about things that I was going to learn about, like compliance and all. I had zero knowledge. So 2013, I got into Chemcon Specialty Chemicals, and I got a lot of freedom. So one thing which I did, which proved really advantageous to me, was I never said no. I got the opportunities to learn. I even though I was in my core area was HR, I did all kind of things. I handled GPCB matters. I handled liaison. I even dealt with scrap. जो कचरा निकालना है कंपनी का, वो भी मैंने किया. And all that proved very fruitful to me, very advantageous to me, because that experience of scrap selling is not going to help me become a CHR of a company, but an experience of working with different kinds of people and the kind of negotiation skills you have to do. You get to think what the management, you work with the management as well. So that was very advantageous to me. I was there for a good period of 5 years, Chemcon Specialty Chemicals. And if I compare the first 5 years and then the 5 years of Chemcon, the small company, that gave the biggest learning to me. And my boss was the director of the company, and he was a non-HR person. But I learned a lot about HR, a lot about people skills from that particular person, Mr. Himanshu Purohit, who was the director of Chemcon Specialty Chemicals. I also worked very closely with the promoters. That was all very helpful. Then 2018, I realized that if I have to go on and reach a top position, I have to switch from Chemcon. Chemcon was growing, but there was a limit there. I also needed to learn, and I felt that I had a lot to learn. So although simultaneously I was reading, I used to read a lot. I used to read tons and tons of stuff. So in 2013, I realized when I attended interviews that even though I did my master's in HR, my knowledge in HR was very poor. I still remember that once I had attended an interview in the first 1 or 2 years, and I was unable to explain what human resources stands for. What exactly does the HR function do? So then I enhanced my knowledge by reading a lot. I subscribed to every magazine that was out there. People Matters. Then you had Human Capital. For law, I read Compliance. I still subscribe to Labor Law Reporter. I read every issue of LLR. Then I subscribe to Time, Harvard Business Review, Forbes, every single mag. I spent $10,000 a month behind magazines and books. All that proved very advantageous to me. It's like investing in the market. You don't get immediate returns, but you get the returns. You get the compound effect of it over a period of time. Then in 2018, I got a break I was selected by Phenolics Industries for their Baroda manufacturing plant. I was there for another 6 years at Phenolics Pipes, where I was taking care of the plant HR related activities. And from Phenolics, I moved to MRF Tires, where I met our good friend Rohit. Been there for 2 years. MRF was also a different journey altogether. It was I learned a lot about discipline. I learned. I'm sure Rohit can attest to that as well. I learned a lot. Why discipline matters in a manufacturing industry. By even if you let one single thing go, that can lead to a lot of issues down the line that you can never think about. At MRF, I was there for not a lot of period of time, 2 years. I had a good reason to move out of MRF, even though I was reasonably happy over there. But now I am with PI Industries, and I'm leading the manufacturing setup of the Panoli plant. There are two plants in Ankleshwar. I'm taking care of the human resource for that, and there are other two group companies as well that I'm handling over here. So that's my journey from 2008 till now. So it's about 13 years of manufacturing, like Rohit said, and the initial 5 years of corporate experience. That is total 18 years. So I have seen a lot of functions, a lot of I mean, I have. When I initially started out, I had no knowledge of compliance, no knowledge of HR at all. I mean, I learned by practice. Then I slowly enhanced my knowledge by reading. Then compliance, I had no knowledge about. I learned about compliance at Phenolics. I became a subject matter expert in compliance by the time I left Phenolics. That MRF also, I got an opportunity to practice labor law. And right now, I believe that I am at the next level over here, where we are talking about the future of HR, AI, strategic HR, having a chair at the table. So all that, I believe that I am getting that exposure. I am being part of that at PI Industries. So that is that, Akshay.
That is a good eye opener because your industry journey has given us so much idea that you have even explored multiple different sectors as well. It was
Yeah.
not just corporate, you went into manufacturing and then you're learning different things and starting off from a small company. It, I think, has given a bright exposure to you, and we would look forward to, having such roles if we can in our future. I'll pass it over to Kiran. You can go ahead.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, Akshay. Hey, hi, Kiran. This is
Hi.
Kiran
Hi.
speaking. Kiran. All right. I have a question on importance of conflict management in corporate work. So, in your experience, why are conflict management and negotiation practices are so critical for organization success today?
That's a good question, actually. Conflict management, I I am someone, who initially never enjoyed conflicts. I don't think that I still enjoy conflicts, to be honest. But I have realized that, conflict is essential. It's very important. It is essential when you are in an organization, because I'm sure you guys, know about group think that, when everyone thinks the same, the group or the organization never grows. So conflict is vital if you want the organization to succeed. People are going to, when people come together, they are bound to have difference of opinions. They are bound to have, fights. The fights can be over petty issues, it can be over big matters. But what is essential is how you manage those conflicts. And that is where, the culture of the organization is also quite important. That is, are you an organization that, you know conflicts are bound to happen, like I said, but are you an organization which, you know which says that, okay, you have absolute freedom to disagree, but there's a method how you deal with conflicts? Or are you an organization which, tries to bury those conflicts under the carpet? You can have a conflict with your boss, for example. As attrition is, that is also reflected in attrition. People, you know very well that people tend to leave their managers, their bosses, rather than the jobs. Often, a lot of it is because of conflict. So, uh, conflict is quite, essential. But unfortunately, we don't see a lot of things happening with respect to conflict management. You would think that this is such a vital topic, such an essential subject, but still, uh, when we talk about training and development, you don't see conflict management as a topic which is to be discussed, which is to be, talked about. People don't talk about conflict management at all. And negotiation is also very interesting. I don't believe I'm a very good negotiator as such, but I have improved over a period of time. And like I said, that I don't enjoy conflicts as well, but I have realized that it is essential for me to if I have to fight, I have to fight. And no one is going to become an expert negotiator, or no one is going to be expert in conflict management. So it all depends on the individual's characteristics as well. Like if I am an introvert, for example, and the job demands I have to be an extrovert, I'm never going to be an extrovert, as good an extrovert, say for example Anirudh. If Anirudh is a very smooth talker, I will never be able to become as smooth talker as Anirudh if I am an introvert, for example. But yes, I realize that this is what is required, and I adapt myself to become better at my job. And that is true in conflict management as well. You have to realize that there are you are not fighting the other person. You are trying to come to an agreement. You're trying to understand the point, what the other person is saying, and you are trying to reach an agreement. So try to fight the point. Ask why or how instead of what did you say. And negotiation, that is true for negotiation as well, that a lot of principles in negotiation. I remember there was a wonderful book. I'm forgetting the name of that book. Probably I'll come to you later in by the end of the session. It was by a person named Voss. It talked about some wonderful principles. So I remember one very important thing that he mentioned about negotiation. That negotiation is less about the words that you say, but more about the body language that you exhibit. So when you talk about negotiation, you have to of course play, you have to uh, listen. That is absolutely essential. You have to be an active listener, but also simultaneously you have to see the person's body language, because that will convey more about what a person is trying to say than what the words he is uttering. I hope I was able to convey something.
Yeah, exactly. And it is also applicable for our day-to-day life. There is a famous quote: the quality of our lives depends on not whether we have conflict, but so how we respond uh, to them. Yeah. So with that, I will pass on to next. But the thing is that I we also missed to set up a agenda. So we have a theme around the conflict management and negotiation practice. With
Yeah.
that, I'll pass on to Anirudh and Rumi to take next set of questions.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kiran. So good evening, sir.
Good
So I
evening. You can
think
call me
just
Kiran, that's absolutely fine.
yeah. So so just continuing from what Kiran asked, right? So like
Yeah.
a lot of us work in different levels of management, right? So we come across workplace conflicts, but there's also like these frontline disputes, right? So what differentiates these two set of kind of conflict frameworks? And kind of what should a leader kind of look out for in such cases?
I'm sorry, Anirudh, I lost you a bit there. You are asking what differentiates two things. Which are the two things?
The workplace related conflicts and the frontline conflicts.
Okay. So I tend to see that what is the frontline. My understanding of a frontline conflict is something that is quite open. Okay, it is quite visible. So, for example, you might have frontline conflicts uh, between a worker and the management. So you have a very clear understanding of what the other person wants, and it is very open, very visible. And you can see that that this person is asking for this particular thing, and you try to address that. You speak out to him, but there is the other conflict that is there, that is not visible. So I believe you're referring to that. So then, especially you see this at the senior management level, that, the conflicts over there, they, especially at the very top level, okay, so they are very deep underlying issues. For example, your CHRO would have a big issue with the chief financial officer. Chief financial officer is a very, very is the person next to the CEO. Okay, because finance is very critical. I hope to talk to you about that as well later on today. But so that they will be bickering over budget, they will be bickering over small issues, and people would wonder what is the problem over here. This is such a small thing, and what is the problem? But there are deep issues, there are ego related issues, politics related matters. As you grow up in the organization, you have to understand that you have gained that subject matter knowledge, you are an expert in your subject matter knowledge, but to reach the next level you have to have people related skills. If you do not have people related skills, if you do not know how to handle politics, you will not reach the very top of the organization. You have to know how to handle your people. If you do not know that, there will be a ceiling. They will say that, Arey, Kiran is very good in his area. He has complete knowledge of production. He knows this, he knows that, but he cannot handle his people. So he cannot go to the next level. So, so you should know how to handle those conflicts. Ego is a very big issue. With knowledge, unfortunately, also comes ego. And if you do not know how to handle your ego, your emotion, you should have that emotional intelligence to understand that sometimes in the interest of what's best for your department, what's best for you, you have to set that ego aside. You have to go to that CFO and talk to him and say, okay boss, chalo yaar, let's work it out, let's go for a cup of tea, let's close this matter. So वो इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस होना चाहिए कि यार छोड़ दो, यू आर लूजिंग the small battle but you are winning the war. So that is it. Frontline is much easier to handle compared to the senior management issues that are there.
The internal, even the internal aspect kind of translates into external experience, right? So if there are issues internally, then it kind of translates into a negative experience externally as well.
Yeah, absolutely, very true.
Hi, sir, Kiran. Hi, Kiran, sir. Romy this side.
Hi, Romy.
Currently, I'm working with urban company where I deal with a lot of frontline workers. And previously, I was working with Asian Paints for like past 4 years. And as you said, like you have a vast experience in manufacturing, like for like 11 to 12 years almost. So from your recent experience from Phenolix, MRF, and currently at VI industry, I want to if you would be able to share one sort of example that how empathy helped in like resolving a conflict which related to frontline basically. So in what way actually as an HR you're actually dealing with this day-to-day problem? Because problem which is at management level, the overall disruption would not happen in general cases. But if frontline workers are not generally happy in factory sort of setup, they could disrupt like entire operations. I've seen those things happening with Asian Paints as well. So like with your experience of like 11 to 12 years of experience you have had in manufacturing, could you share one such example where like empathy actually helped or the negotiation skills really helped in solving this sort of issues?
I'm just trying to think of an example which can answer your question, but I am 100% certain that without empathy you cannot be a good HR professional.
Mm-hmm.
That is an absolute must-have skill, and it does not also very important. Empathy is also very important when you do conflict management, when you do negotiations. I'll answer your question particularly, but I'd like to add on to that when you are involved in negotiations, for example, it is very important that you become an active listener. You show empathy. You should not agree. I'm not saying that you should agree. If that person is saying, you should not be saying that yes, I agree with you, but it should come across that you are an active listener and you are empathizing with that person. You say, yes, I understand your situation, I understand where you're coming from. that is very critical when you do negotiation skills. Because if you say, yes, I agree to your point, that means you're conceding your advantage or conceding to, you should also remember that in negotiations, a bad deal is worse than no deal. You should, if you're having a bad deal, don't go for it. Don't go for that deal, especially when it comes to unions and agreements. Don't go for that. No. So empathy, I believe, it is a must-have skill. If you are not empathetic, if you are not, I don't think that you can go on to become a top level HR professional, especially in the manufacturing setup. Because in the manufacturing setup, as of now, you are still going to deal with blue collar workers. And very important for blue collar workers is, you're not talking about, your welfare, I mean, yoga or something like that. You're not talking about Maslow's fourth level or fifth level. You're talking about basic needs. You're talking about toilets not being cleaned. You're talking about canteen food, not being good enough. You're talking about buses, in poor condition. आज जो ड्राइवर है उसने मुझे गाली दिया, वो ऐसे ही बस, मैं बस चढ़ रहा था, उसने गाड़ी भगा दिया. Those are the issues that you will, Rohit is smiling, I mean, he knows very well. So those are the issues that you're going to face. And if you are going to dismiss your people, trust me, it will come back to bite you in a big way. It was just 4 days back. I mean, I make a point that every day I go to the plant. Every day. It can be at 7:30 p.m., but I make a point that I go to the plant. We have around 10 plants here at PI, and I make a point to go to 2 plants every day. So I go to them because every day I almost meet a new set of people over there. So they feel very happy when I come and talk to them. They say that, sir, आप चाहो कुछ भी हो, आप हमें हमारा problem का resolve नहीं करो. Of course, they want me to help out with their problems, but they want that, that I should, there is someone who has come to listen to them. There is someone who is, who is saying that, okay, I understand what you're saying. And I try not to give them empty promises. No, I say that definitely I agree. I find that you have a valid point, and I'll try to help you out. So coming back to your point of, of how it has helped me, immediately I can think of the example of the things that we have handled at MRF, because, MRF is one company that is driven by discipline, that is driven by, having, they don't generally negotiate MRF as such. But we had two very big strikes there at MRF recently. And I believe that, one of the reasons why we were able to dissolve the strikes were because we were able to connect with the workers. So when you are talking about strikes, you have to realize that this is a big group of people. We had 150 people who had gathered at the gates. So you are not going to talk to the 150 people. If you're going to talk to 150 people, you will never be able to, dissolve the strike. So you have to break them into small groups, and you have to connect with them. You have to engage with them, and you can engage with them only when they know you. They know Romy, that, अरे ये तो Romy sir हैं, अरे ये तो हमसे हर रोज बात करते हैं, अरे हम उनकी बात सुनते हैं. And when you tell them कि भाई अंदर आ जाओ, ये आपके भले के लिए है, वरना कंपनी कल उठ के बड़ा एक्शन लेगी और आप फंस जाओगे, and they will believe you. And when they say, and when you say Romy sir ने बोला है अंदर आने के लिए, वो बोल रहे हैं कि ये सब खाली झमेला होगा, they will trust you and they will come towards. So it is very, very important. I'm sorry, my answers are a bit long, but I I told you that I'm not really truly prepared for this, but I want to give you my experiences, what all I have seen and had. So
no issues.
thank
So,
you.
actually, I've also worked in manufacturing setup. I can totally relate with whatever you have said. And as you said, in my last plant, 220 to 250 workers who were on roll at the Asian Paint plant. So one complete strike and one complete day of production was lost, like a revenue of probably 30-40 crore from that particular plant just because of strike. So I know like the end results could be like much more devastating. Like losses could be huge. You can't like just
It would be
summarize it.
disastrous. It would be disastrous, not just immediately, but in the future as well, in the medium term future as well, because you might have, वो strike आपने शायद रोक दिया होगा, people would have come back, but that trust would have gone, and people will not believe you. So वो थोड़ा टाइम लगता है, to bring that relationship not back to normal. People जो लोग बोल रहे थे हम लोग कंपनी के लिए ठीक है, साहब ने बोला है हम 2 घंटा एक्स्ट्रा काम करने के लिए हम कर लेंगे, people will not do extra OT for you. They will say हमारा टाइम हो गया है, हम जा रहे हैं, लंच का टाइम हो गया, we'll go to lunch, हम लोग आधे घंटे के 45 मिनट्स के बाद ही आएंगे. So you will also lose that, आपको वो प्रोडक्टिविटी दिख रहा है जो 2 दिन के स्ट्राइक में चला गया है, बट वो आगे वाले 2-3 महीने में जो आपका प्रोडक्शन कम होगा, वहां पे प्रोडक्टिविटी लॉस है, वो आपको नहीं दिखाई देगा. दैट विल नॉट बी वेरी विजिबल.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Over to Narayan Swami.
Yeah, hello, sir. Good evening. I'm Narayan Nagarajan. I'm working as a technical lead at Boeing. So I already thrown some lights on negotiation practices, and then I would like to ask a follow-up question in that. So during your journey, so what strategies have proven most effective when negotiating with trade unions or senior executives or external stakeholders, and how do you prepare for situations where interests strongly oppose each other?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last part of that question. Can you come again?
Yeah. How do you prepare for situations where interests strongly oppose each other?
Where
interests strongly oppose each other.
Okay. So again, that's a very good question, and that's a very relevant question, Narayan Swami. Unfortunately, I did not have the opportunity to work with trade unions during my experience at MRF or earlier, because my job in the companies I joined, there was one condition that union should never be formed. In fact, the plant that I was working, there are 10 plants of MRF in India, and the plant that I was taking care of, that was the only plant which did not have a union. And even though the culture of MRF was such that they were actually preferring unions at that point. They were saying that unions are probably a good thing because you have one single entity whom you can talk and work with, because MRF has always worked with unions. So they kind of look at it as a good thing that you don't have to talk to 5,000 people, you just have to talk to maybe 20 or 50 people, and you can work out a solution. Yes. So like I was saying that I still remember one of my bosses telling me कि boss, जिस दिन वो लेटर आ गया ना कि यूनियन का डिमांड करने के लिए, उस दिन हमारा रेजिग्नेशन रखने का टाइम आ जाएगा. We have to leave the company because having a union is never a good thing in 99% of the companies. But still, even if you do not have unions, you are going to have disruptions. You are going to have workers. जैसे आपको जो होगा, you will have to work with local leaders who would be from within the company. Like at MRF, we had land losers. You had people who on whose land the company was built. So even though they are they are not a union leader, but they consider themselves different from other workers because they said that this is our land, and the company has an obligation for us. You deal with local sarpanch leaders, you deal with politicians and all. Okay. So how I dealt with them was I was very transparent and I was very honest. Very honest to some level. I never gave them false hopes. Okay. So if you do not have the answer, or if you are not sure, do not promise anything which will come back and bite you, which will make them say कि अरे वो सर ने ऐसा कहा था. And trust me, if you do one single mistake, it will be compounded 10 times and it will really come back. And the management is such that management of companies, that they would also say that, ki this person, he was the person who has done that, and you will be in a bigger pile of trouble. So always, always be confident, that, be sure. And how can you be confident? How can you be sure? By having knowledge. Having knowledge of, of how things are working. There is a thing called black swan. Swans. So swans are usually white in color, but there's a black swan. What is a black swan? A black swan are things that are different, that yet you do not know about, okay, that are out there. So you must have intelligence. That is very important. You must have intelligence. Like, I remember that the first strike that we had faced in MRF, we had intelligence that that strike was going to happen, and we were prepared for that. So you have to cultivate an intelligence. That intelligence can be through your security. It can be through your local, in the village, you can have people whom you are in connect with. So that was what helped me, that, I cultivated the intelligence. I came to know that these are the things that are happening. I had a knowledge about the grapevine, that people told me that this is going to happen. And I remember that before the first strike, I was up the whole night, because we were thinking of how to handle things. Just a bus aega, because I came to know that all the strikers, they were going to come in two buses, and they were going to create a scene. They were going to come inside the factory. They will probably, destroy things. So what we did was, we stopped the bus outside the company, and for the buses which were leaving the company, we decided on a different route, so that they will not be aware that what is happening inside the company. So but if you're caught up by surprise, agar aapko surprise pata chala ki arey ye to kya ho gaya, that means there is some failure at your end as well, because you are not aware that this is. See, a union does not get formed overnight. It does not happen all of a sudden. It happens because of mistakes. Mistakes might be from your end, in the sense that how you have dealt with people. You might not have showed empathy. You might not have showed compassion, which has led to this. And you have not realized what is happening. You are out of touch of the shop floor. If you go to the shop floor every single day, you will realize that there are problems and what is going to happen. So my style of working always was that, you should be rooted to the shop floor. Even if you reach at a plant head position, you should always go to the shop floor. You should always go and talk to each single person. I speak even to the contract worker as well. I check with him ki bhai, you get your salary on time. How do you come to the plant? You come by cycle or you come by own? Abhi tumhara LPG ka issue chal raha hai. Are you facing a problem? So I come to know कि no, yes, उसका जो एलपीजी सिलेंडर है वो 1300 रुपीज का, अभी उसको 4000 रुपया ब्लैक में खरीदना पड़ता है. So that is not feasible for him. वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वर्कर भाग जाएगा. अगर वो भाग जाएगा तो I would have a contract worker shortage at my plant. All this you understand and you realize only by going to the shop floor. So you should maintain a connection with your people. You should talk to them. You should have intelligence. You should understand. There is a thing called it is not analytics as such, but you should be able to predict what is going to happen. When you talk about predictive analytics, so you should understand that this is likely to happen and how are you going to deal with it. So those are my ways of working, of dealing with such situations.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your perspective regarding negotiation practices. So I am passing it to Shreyas.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Kiran. I think we have already discussed a lot on negotiation and conflict management. I would like to discuss about your CHRO journey. I am going good, and how you are implementing your learnings in your professional career. Since we are also in our MBA, we are going to pass out within the next year. So, what suggestions you can give to us?
I made the most of the money that I invested, in the sense that what I did was I made connections. जो जैसे like we were a batch around 50-55 people, and I have gained wonderful connections, wonderful friends from those 55, which I have learned a lot from them, because there are people from different backgrounds. Like Tapas is here, Kandeep is here. So I'm sure that all of you have different experience. Doesn't mean that that Rohit is superior to Tapas in all senses. There are areas in which Tapas can help Rohit a lot, and there are areas in which Rohit can help Prajwal a lot. So in that sense, I realized that that this is an opportunity for me to learn. I'm talking specifically about the CHRO program only right now. That that I should learn from my colleagues, and so the 1 year that I had, I interacted a lot with them, and I understood which are my weak areas. I'll come to those areas which I hope that you should also focus upon. And was I approached the industry leaders. I approached uh, yeah, Josh Burson. I hope you know Josh Burson. He's a well-known industrial HR leader. I approached Josh Burson. I approached Santrup Mishra. हर एक पर्सन को मैंने अप्रोच किया बिना शर्म के. मैंने कहा कि सर, we are students of IIM Kozhikode. I would like to have, just like Rohit has approached me, I approached people. मैंने कहा सर, we need your time. We want to learn from you. And that was my biggest learning from IIM Kozhikode. I interacted with leaders. मुझे समझ में आया कि okay, if I am at a mid management level position, अगर मुझे CHRO बनना है, and CHRO बनने के लिए बहुत competition है बॉस. At a junior level, very well, you will get good jobs, but CHRO level जो है, that is top of the pyramid. So you will have to stand out if you have to become a CHRO. And I understood standing out का मतलब क्या होता है. अभी जो कर रहा हूँ वैसा ही मैं करता गया, तो I will become a very good general manager. But to be a CHRO, first of all, you have to understand the business. अगर आप बिजनेस नहीं समझते हो, तो you will never be an effective CHRO. हमेशा we hear a lot, you guys are in HR now, so you hear a lot कि HR has to have a seat at the table. No one is going to give you that table. You have to grab a chair and you have to sit by the table. And you can do that only if you understand the business. You have to make finance your best friend. आप में से अगर कुछ लोग हैं who are from a non-finance background, please read about finance. You should know how to read a balance sheet. You should know what is credit, what is debit. वो सब आपको समझना पड़ेगा. Okay, so read about finance, because you have to also understand when a CEO goes, who is the next person to enter the CEO's chair? Who is being considered? Most likely it is going to be a CFO, and very less likely it is going to be a CHRO. Why very less likely? Because a CHRO knows about people. उसको लोगों का समझ है, लेकिन उसको पैसे का समझ नहीं है, और पैसे से ही इंडस्ट्री चलता है. So you have to understand finance, you have to understand business, and you have to understand the future of HR. We are talking about labor laws, but the future is going to change very rapidly. Okay, so you can see very well what is happening. AI is happening. You have to understand how the role of HR is going to change with AI. AI आएगा and it is going to affect every single function. It is going to affect HR as well. HR के जो basic functions हैं, जो जैसे payroll है या recruitment है, so वो तो definitely होगा ही. But I feel that over a period of time, I don't know if you read a few days back, there was an article that by there was news के Nvidia के जो CEO या chairman है, उन्होंने बताया है कि now the AI it can be generative AI as well. मतलब जो उनका जो AI model है, it can do strategy as well. So we were thinking कि अभी तक AI जो है वो ठीक है, वो what कर सकता है, लेकिन वो आपको why का जवाब नहीं देगा कि आपका एट्रिशन हाई है. वो बता देगा जो है कि ठीक है, यहाँ ये रीजन है, लेकिन वो ये नहीं बता पाएगा कि आपका why जो है वो क्यों हो रहा है एग्जैक्टली. But now that is also most likely to happen. So by the time you guys become CHROs, the future is going to be very, very different, and you have to be one step ahead. You have to read about AI. आपको AI, you have to read about cost, because now every single industry is talking about cost कैसे हम कर सके, how can you reduce the cost. So you should know कि, and you have to take tough decisions. You have to be tough. हम लोग को अच्छा नहीं लगता है कि कि लोगों को निकालना, ये वो करना, लेकिन ये सारे डिसीजंस एचआर को लेने पड़ेंगे, तभी एचआर कैन राइटफुली बी देयर नेक्स्ट टू द सीईओ. बोलना पड़ेगा कि ये जो रोल है, अभी आज के तारीख में टुडे you have to see, when there is a vacancy, say for example if Kiran is leaving this company, Kiran is going, so then the CHRO should see कि किरण की जगह पे दूसरा किरण लेके आने की जरूरत है, या can AI do this job. That is the way you have to start thinking. You have to start thinking कि whether people are required for this job or not. It is going to be very tough in the future. So yes,
Yes,
Shreya.
definitely. Yeah. Thank you, Kiran, for your insight. I think it will help us in our educational as well as professional journey. And obviously, AI is everywhere within the manufacturing, HR, or any kind of industry. So keep a track with that. And so, thank you so much for the insight. I think I'll hand it to you.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Abu.
Hi, sir. We have discussed in detail about conflict management and negotiation practices, sir. But I want to know how it connects with the broader HR strategies such as talent retention, performance management, and even organizational culture. If you could explain that, that would be wonderful, sir.
Okay, so I think I touched upon that a bit. That when we talk about conflict management, all right. So you have talent in the organization, and the thing with talent is you have to be very sensitive with talent as well, because talent is often quite touchy. Because they want to be treated differently. They don't want to be treated like any ordinary Joe of the company. And quite often, talent has issues in the organization. Many lot of times, the person whom they are reporting to, their bosses, they are not able to connect with them easily, and that results in attrition. And the thing about attrition is that you don't realize it immediately. So you would think, how would you come to know that this person has left this job because of his boss? You would think कि शायद exit interview में आ जाएगा, but exit interview is more often than not are sanitized. Because if I'm leaving the organization, if I have a problem with my boss, I will not mention in my exit interview that I have a problem with my boss. That very few people do. जिनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, who are probably going to start their own business, those are the people who would say that I had a problem, this guy is so bad, you should not keep this guy in the company. What they would do is they would take on better opportunity and say that I am going for a much better job, I'm getting this much hike. They will never reveal what is happening. You might get that information. What we do is we sometimes call them after a few months through a third party, so to find out what is the reason, why did you really leave, and that is when we sometimes get the real picture that this is why the person has left. So for conflicts, conflict, it hits your talent in that way by attrition. And apart from that, you also have PMS, for example, the performance management system. So in PMS, we often see that people are very hesitant to give feedback, because very often most of the organizations follow the bell curve. Why? I mean, the bell curve, I'm sure you guys are aware that like even in right now I'm doing appraisals. That is why I was also getting delayed today. That 5% of the people you have to rate outstanding, 15% you have to rate very good, and 70% you have to rate good or average, and remaining 20% you have to rate poor. So it is the manager's job to give that bell rating, give feedback to people. And you see that when you have to give a very good rating, for say if you have to rate someone as A is outstanding, people are happy to give that feedback. they would say, yes, I am happy to tell you that I found you to be very good. You are an outstanding performer. But you have to give them a C or a D. That is when it is very difficult. You hesitate. You don't tell them that, you avoid that conflict. You say ki, you don't have that performance dialogue with that person. You instead avoid having that. You say that, okay, yes, you did a very good job. And when the increment letters comes, when that person is disappointed and comes to you, and then the manager would say, आई एम सॉरी, ये तो एचआर ने किया है, इसमें तो हमने कुछ नहीं किया, मैंने तो तुम्हारा रेटिंग अच्छा दिया था, मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता इसमें, एचआर बेल कर्व लेके आया है. So that is where you also see conflicts in the PMS system. Okay, so that is one area that is also, that I think of, is also affected by conflict management. And another area is training. For example, like I said, that unfortunately training is not a topic. Conflict management is not a topic I have seen that is covered in trainings, which it should be, because people should know how to handle conflicts. And I think AI can do a very good, AI can help us out very good way in that. I'll give you an example of that. I was listening to a podcast and it connected to me as well, that imagine, Abu, I am the one who is telling you that, Abu, this is the area where you need to improve in. Now, you might not take it in a very positive manner. Okay. Because you would think यार कि अरे ये मुझे कौन बोल रहा है, ये थोड़ी मुझे इतने अच्छे से जानते हैं जो मुझे बता रहे हैं. He's not someone who can tell me that I am weak in this area. I am good. But suppose it is AI who is telling you that, Abu, based on the what I have learned about you, I think, Abu, that this is the area where you can improve on. So, coming from an AI bot, you might take that feedback positively. So, that I think is also one area where AI would really help in the future with respect to conflict management, with respect to, improving the attributes of a person. So all this is, coming back to the big word culture. All this is shaped by the culture of the organization. It is the organization which determines how you are going to handle the conflicts. If the organization is something, जो बोलता है कि नहीं, अरे वो boss, even if ऐसा नहीं होता है, it does not happen that the organization is not aware. The everyone is aware that this person is a bad boss, this person is a bad production manager, and people are living because of this production manager. People are everywhere, everyone is aware, from top to bottom everyone is aware. But just because the production manager is the one who is giving the output, you tend to turn a blind eye. That is the culture of the organization. But suppose, we see in MNC company, even if that company, that person is vital to the organization, he is someone who is delivering you numbers, but if he's a bad boss and people are leaving because of him, because of the conflicts they are having with him, then he will be kicked out of the system. And that is the culture of a very good organization. So culture plays a very vital role in conflict management, in how you handle the conflicts. Conflicts, like I said in the very beginning, conflicts are absolutely essential if you are to grow as an organization. Without conflicts, you cannot grow, but it is also very vital how you manage those conflicts. And that is determined by the culture of the organization.
It's a very nicely put, sir. Like reversing the culture is what's impacting everything and will put everything together. That was nice insight, sir. And passing it over to Karandeep for the next question.
Hello, Kiran. I have a few questions related to the role of technologies and AI in the conflict management. So my prevalent question would be how we are using or how we are reshaping the conflict management and negotiations in practice using AI or or any specific tools to do surveys or any type of tool that is being used for sentiment analysis to resolve the conflicts or to understand the patterns within the organization, like how the things are being moving in the organizations with the analysis to understand the common conflicts management that is being done internally. So, is there any ideas or any pathways that you can suggest, and what will be the future that you see after AI coming into the place?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to give you a very good answer to that. Uh, if we talk about, you know, about conflict management and AI tools, so one, like you said about surveys, okay, that kind of gave me, pointed me to the right direction. That surveys are one wonderful tool of, of getting to know what people are really thinking. And through anonymous surveys, if people really believe that the surveys are anonymous, they will give you actual feedback. And that actual feedback, sometimes it will be written in words, in very clear words. When you give them an opportunity, if you give them some space, they will give you clear examples, they will tell you in detail. But very often, it is that out of 10 questions, there is only one descriptive question and 9 are non-descriptive questions. And what people do is, people don't say that they disagree. Say to a question that, is the workplace a good place to work? There would be a lot of people who would not say I disagree. They would say neutral. Okay, so probably a person who is working in your HR team will not be able to interpret those results correctly. But it might be an AI tool. When you give the AI that information, they will be able to, that AI tool will be able to reveal that, ideally in most of the organizations, for a positive culture, the answer is 80% or 70% of them rate it as a D or a E, an agree or a strongly agree. But in this case, we see that 40% of the people are rating it as neutral, which indicates that there are some deep underlying issues. And the AI tool will also give you methods to handle those situations. It can be that, what AI can suggest. Okay. For example, if new joiners are leaving, so what the AI tool would say that you should do immediate feedback. Say after 1 month or 15 days, you should have 1 month, 3 months, 6 months feedback. Or, like in this case, the AI tool will tell you that you should do skip level meetings. What is skip level meetings? That is, if I have a problem with my boss, I should have, say, once a quarter meeting with my boss's boss. So my boss's boss is the CEO of the company. So there should be a skip level meeting with the CEO of the company. And how, and unfortunately, the HR person who is there is consumed by a lot of transactional activities. So he does not have the time to think about these kind of things. And this can happen only if we start using AI in your daily activities. I hope that you guys, you are working in organizations which encourage the use of AI. You have to adopt AI as a friend. If you are hiding, I mean, I'm sure that every one of you realizes that AI is very important for your role. It helps you not only in typing that answer to that email or giving that answer to that question, but it helps you be better. The activities that took you maybe days, it can get be done in maybe a matter of hours. Your efficiency increases. So start making use of AI in your daily activities. I'm sure it will tremendously enhance your effectiveness. And the future of conflict management, well, I am not very sure of that. But but I see that once more and more people get used to AI, so managing conflicts will become easier. Okay, so maybe we might be able to predict which conflicts are going to happen. Say, for example, we see that there are conflicts between purchase and marketing. So you can, through AI, you will be able to predict that, okay, this is going to happen. So HR can be proactive instead of reactive.
Right.
Kiran's there. So Karandeep, I hope I have somewhat answered your question.
Yeah, sure, Kiran. That was very insightful, but definitely yeah, it's very difficult for AI as well to manage the conflicts right now. It can only provide us suggestions that this is a possible way a conflict could occur, considering all the context, like all the meeting notes that you take and you fetch it, and
Yeah.
then based on the analysis, it can derive that these are possible conflicts that can occur in future, and these are possible resolutions that you should follow currently so that you doesn't mess up with the team in the future. So these are the follow-ups that are been happening. But with the time constraint, I would like to further move on to the next topic,
Sure.
which is covered by the Tapas and Prajwal. So, Tapas, please.
Thank you. Uh, Yes, sir. Sir, your role is really impressive from the corporate to manufacturing industries, and there are so many roles you have already in your last career. And
Thank you,
so,
Tapas. I've been lucky.
yeah. So, sir, that is the exact question, sir. Just give us some learning things and share with us. Yeah.
So I believe I already told you about the things you should focus on as an HR person. If you want to be an effective HR person, you should be, you should know your business. Okay. Know your business would mean, again, I would like to elaborate on that because there are more ideas that are coming to my mind, that you should participate. You should, when you go to the shop floor, like, for example, I am working in a chemical company. All right. What I often see is people don't look to understand the process. Okay, when I go to the shop floor, I ask that person who is there कि भैया ये तुम क्या कर रहे हो? So he would tell me reactor में काम कर रहा हूँ. I say what kind of process is happening in that reactor? You should be inquisitive to understand how the business is functioning, because that is not only just for the sake of it, nahi, but also it can help you in your L&D activities. For example, if you want to develop that person to the next level, or you want to understand that this person is handling a very critical aspect, there is something called a niche skills, NICHE, niche skills. Niche skills are going to be the future of L&D, because that is where we would be focusing on that. These are the skills which are absolutely necessary for an organization to function. So for example, if cyanide handling is a niche skill for an operator, all right, so you have to train sufficient people for those niche skills. And again, awareness of that will earn you respect from the people. Okay, that अरे तपस सर को पता है कि ये जो साइनाइड वाला जो प्रोडक्ट है उसके लिए ये करना पड़ता है. Your production manager will look at you at a different light. Your CEO will treat you differently because they will acknowledge that Tapas knows the business. So go to the, our job जो है 9:30 बजे आके 6 बजे चले जाना वो नहीं है. If necessary, stay back on the shop floor, understand the process, understand the business. And like I said, कि पता चलना चाहिए कि ये टाइम पे, and start reading from outside also. जैसे if you are working in a tire manufacturing company, you should know which are the global factors, like the war is happening, how is that affecting your industry, और अभी deforestation चल रहा है ब्राजील में, so how is that going to impact the tire prices in India? So all those things you should be aware of, and you should be able to talk to people. You cannot, HR also जो है, it is very important to talk. So you should be able to talk and connect with people and tell them that that you are aware about all these things. It is very, very critical. Then data is vital. The future is here. So we have been talking about these things, data, for a long period of time, but I believe that now is the right time. With AI coming in, you should be very, very, you should have data on the tip of your fingers. So not just about attrition. Attrition तो ठीक है, तुम्हें सबको पता है कि तुम्हारा जो है कंपनी का attrition 15% है, लेकिन अगले 6 महीने में जो attrition 15% से 18% होने वाला है, that you should be able to tell. And why it is going to increase from 15% to 18%? Because now opportunities are opening up. So this is why in the last 3 years also this has happened. So this time also it is going to happen. And to counter that attrition, these are the steps that I am proposing. That is the way that you should think. Strategic thinking. That these are the anticipated problems and this is a solution. And हम लोग जो हैं, हम HR वाले जो हैं, हम लोग को बड़ी बड़ी बातें करना बहुत अच्छा लगता है. We like to talk about behavioral topics a lot. Leadership है, ये behavior, फलाना behavior, but we are very weak in data. So you should have data because management is convinced only by data. तुम CFO के सामने रखोगे, CFO जो होता है वो ये नहीं मानते कि उसका कंपनी का पैसा जा रहा है. He would think कि उसके पॉकेट से पैसा निकल रहा है. So he will not allow you to invest in those employee engagement activities, in those training activities. So you have to show a return on investment that that by doing this activity, your attrition is going to reduce by this much. By reducing the attrition, you are going to save this much money, and that is going to increase your net profit. इस तरीके से तुम्हें बात करना पड़ेगा. That is how you will need to talk to your CFO if you want to engage with them, connect with them. Otherwise, वो CFO बोलेगा, अरे he will convince the CEO, अरे all this is not essential, ये सब HR का बकवास है, हाँ वो सब भूल जाओ. That is how they are going to talk. So you should focus on those attributes a lot. Understanding business, understanding money, understanding data, predictive data, analytics. Okay, and don't forget the behavioral aspect. Okay, behavioral aspect would mean ultimately जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. So you have to focus on improving yourself. You have to know how to present things. Okay, जैसे communication is very vital. अब जब leadership से बात करोगे, you cannot talk in long sentences like I am talking right now, because they don't have the time to spend. So you should know कि मुझे पास 10 मिनट है, 10 मिनट में मुझे ये टॉपिक जो है उनको कन्विंस करना है. So you should know what to talk straight to the facts. Okay. And lot to talk about, but unfortunately I think that I'm taking too much time.
Yeah, so thank you for giving me the insights of the corporate. Yeah, I will, because of time constraint, I will hand over to Prajwal. Yeah.
So, hello, sir. So it's been really nice and so fascinating to have this discussion with you this evening. And there's so much amount of learning that I've just had in last 1 hour. So I know you touched upon these things, but out of more curiosity, right? As young, MBA graduates or B school graduates, who is wanting to step into the leadership roles, right? What is the advice that you would given from your end, right, as a HR professional? Because you have seen things happen in different industries, verticals, different kind of scenarios. And just before this, you also highlighted or perfectly the key learnings of in terms of skills that one has to have. But if one is stepping into a leadership role post their MBA or B school, right? So, what is some of the advices from your end that they have to just follow and go through that path?
Okay, just a second. So, since you guys are starting out, so my immediate advice to you would be, you should try to, be competent in your job. You cannot focus on too many things right now. Yes, it is important to understand the business. It is important to connect with people. That all will help you. But you have to be very competent in the job that is expected from you. So suppose you are doing a recruitment job. You cannot by step recruitment and focus on other things, on connecting people or doing the business. So first of all, you have to be exceptional in the job that is assigned to you. That will take you to the next level. Without performing on the job that has been given to you, you cannot grow to the next level. Yes, you will grow, but it will take time. So when in the immediate future, what is going to happen is you would need, say, if Prajwal has joined as a manager, for him to become a senior manager, he would need to first of all deliver on his basic expectations. So his expectations, it can be whatever it can be. If he's in HR, then he would need to deliver on reducing the attrition numbers. He would need to deliver on the hiring numbers or the making the culture a wonderful place to work. Those are the basic expectations. So you have to first of all focus on that, and once you become exceptional in that, then you can look to do bigger things. So that is my first piece of advice on this topic. And apart from that, Prajwal, I think I have already mentioned to you that that which are the other things that you should focus on.
Yes, sir.
So
Exactly. That's the reason why I pointed that out.
yeah,
So thank you so much. No, it's like being the best in what we do and
yeah,
delivering that above basic expectations, and then
sure,
that's how we just go on. Thank you so
yes.
much for the advice. So now I would like to pass it on to Autumn.
So, yeah, thank you, sir, for your insights so far. Um, Continuing the discussion, I would like to ask you one question, which is the various conflict management negotiation frameworks that you've used. Is there anything that you felt like you should redesign to make these strategies more effective, or something that you've actually redesigned or changed in your experience that has made like these strategies more effective?
Nehan, I'll be honest with you. I had never used any kind of framework as such. All right. I learned that, I learned through my own experiences. I kind of, understood that I had some limitations. Like if the expectation was that, I have to go and deal with another person, and if I have a problem with that person, I really hesitate. I'll be honest that I'll be hesitant in reaching out to that person, um, because sometimes ego used to come in the way. Sometimes I used to think, yaar, ki wo kya, what does he think of himself? So uh, I kind of never used any kind of framework as such, because it all depends from person to person. Nihan would I'm sure would deal with it in a different way. Kiran would deal in a different way, and I would react in a different way. And my approach was that initially I even today, I'll give you a real life example of what happened a couple of days back. That I have been having this difference of opinion with my manufacturing head, and the manufacturing head and I used to, my style of working is I put it out straight on mail. मैं मेल पे डाल देता हूँ, ओके, कि भाई ये है और ये करना है. Because one thing about me is that I am not afraid to give it out. अगर मुझे लग रहा है कि I believe I am right for the organization's sake, I will put it out. So the manufacturing head जो है, he tried to play it clever. उसने यानी कि दूसरे लोगों को involve किया, ऐसा किया वैसा किया. But then I realized that we are talking about, I'll give you exactly what this is about. This is about appraisals, all right? That we had to complete the appraisals by a given period of time. Now the manufacturing head, what he said was कि नहीं, मुझे ये data चाहिए. And I understood that he is deliberately delaying it, because then it would come to me that that मुझे एचआर के तरफ से डेटा जो है वो लेट मिला, उसके वजह से हमारा ये जो है टाइम पे नहीं हो रहा है. So then I had to decide how to go ahead with that. I could either leave it as such. मैं बोलूंगा कि यार कि मैंने तो डेटा दे दिया, मैंने सब कुछ कर दिया है. Now this manufacturing head is now purposefully delaying it. But then I realized that by doing all this, ultimately it is the organization which is suffering. It is the people which is suffering, क्योंकि लोगों के increment रुक रहे हैं. And because of what is happening between us, the increments might get delayed by 1 month, because there are about 700 people working under that manufacturing manager. And just because of probably ego clashes between us, उनका increment लटक जाएगा. So what I did was I went up to the manufacturing manager and I said कि राजेश भाई, क्या issue हो गया है, क्यों आप ये नहीं हो रहा है? तो then he said, अरे आपने ये डेटा जो है, आपको ये प्लांट जो प्लांट, he had 6 plants under him, तो आपको ये प्लांट हेड को मेल करना चाहिए था, आपने नहीं किया. मैंने कहा राजेश भाई, I have got a clear directive from top. I cannot mail it to the plant heads. बट हमारा बीच में इतना अच्छा रिलेशन है, बिकॉज यू आर माई गुड फ्रेंड, फॉर यू आई डू इट, ऐसा करके. एंड देन आई पुट माई ईगो असाइड and I worked with him, and he also recognized that okay, that HR जो है वो सामने से मेरे पास आया and he did that. I could have stepped back and I could have said that let that guy suffer. जब मैनेजमेंट क्वेश्चन करेगा मैं तो बोलूंगा भैया मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हेड की वजह से हुआ है. एंड समटाइम्स यू हैव टू टेक अ स्टैंड. Yes, sometimes you have to take a stand. Always you cannot be accommodative, but sometimes you also have to understand that it is the organization which is which is suffering, so you have to do what is necessary. So I did not adopt any such framework. I understood what my limitations are, and I adapted to it. What is true for most of the people might not be true for me.
Sure. Thank you,
That
sir,
is- Thank
for
you.
your inputs. Yeah. Moving on.
So, with me worked with you, sir. I must say the tenure in MRF was really impressive. You were a great HR head, and the way you published the feedback forms, you collected feedbacks, you reached out to people at the front line. That used to really impress me when I used to get calls from you like this people is having such a problem. Like I didn't expect that HR head will reach out for uh, such issues, but it was really impressive that you collected time to get those insights, and this really reflects from your uh, means whatever you are saying. I would like to ask you, like, how do you see the future of HR evolving in terms of conflict resolution and negotiation practices? Like, we see like these HR practices are evolving day by day, and I see in my tenure itself, like I saw different levels of HR manager, and you were totally different out of them. So, how do you see in future it may evolve ahead?
Well, so you reminded me of something. I wanted to talk about that, but it's been quite late. You spoke about MRF. So one very quick point that I would like to tell you guys is, you know about that Parsi thing, na? कि जो Parsi गुजरात में आए थे, when they came to Gujarat, that bowl, उनको दूध दिया गया था, and they said, कि we will gel with the people like, like sugar in the milk, and when you drink that milk it will become sweet. So for all that, you have your individual characteristics as an HR leader, but you should always understand what is the culture of the organization. I say that because I'm reminded of MRF has a different way of working, and you should know that you would always want to do more, but you should know that it is important that you should have the support of the management. If tomorrow you have to do something, you need buy-in from the management as well. Your your plant head or the CEO, they should believe in you, and wo tabhi hoga when you have good relations with the people. So you have to pick your battles. Yes, sometimes you have to be strong, you have to tell them ki sir ye galat hai ya jo hai, lekin most of the times you have to be in tune with the culture of the organization. अगर आप कल्चर के ट्यून में नहीं हो, अगर आपको लग रहा है कि नहीं यहाँ का कल्चर जो है इट इज डिफरेंट टू व्हाट आई बिलीव इन, best is to get away from that organization as soon as you can and move to another company which you can relate to. So मुझे ये कहना पड़ा because रोहित ने mention किया कि कि you had done this, you had done that. I always felt that I could have done a lot more at MRF, but there were things that you understand that MRF is a very traditional company, so I have to work in certain parameters. उसके around ही मुझे काम करना पड़ा था, but I'm very grateful to the management that they gave me that opportunity to to do what I could. So coming to the future of conflict management, Rohit, again, I am not very sure whether I'll be able to answer that question, because I am not very clear how HR itself is going to evolve. Abhi, people cannot predict what is going to happen 2-3 years down the line. हम लोग बड़े बड़े फंडा बोल रहे थे around 5-6 years ago. No one was talking about AI as such. और अभी all of a sudden देखो AI has come in like anything, and now people are saying that every single company should have AI. You are talking about people losing their jobs. So yes, conflict management is going to be a big thing, I feel, in the near term future, because you are going to have conflicts. AI is going to be next to you. आपका जो you guys must have seen the organization का जो chart बनता है ना, you would have seen the organization chart जिसमें नीचे लोग होते हैं. I am sure that very soon in the future वहाँ पे लोग की जगह AI bots आ जाएंगे कि there would be no Rohit and next to Rohit एक AI bot भी होगा वहाँ पे, that this bot is occupying the role next to Rohit and this bot is doing that. So as long as people are there are going to be conflicts, and that conflict is going to be influenced. How you manage those conflicts is going to be influenced by AI. But Rohit, I am sorry, but I don't have the answer to that question, that how and what is going to happen. Probably time can only tell that. I don't believe that anyone in today's situation can predict what is going to happen for conflict management, say 5-10 years down the line.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for your interactive answer. And I would like to hand over the stage to Gaurav.
Thank you, Rohit. Hi, Kiran, and
Hi.
this is a final question from our end. First of all, thank you so much for your time and patiently addressing all our questions. So your insight and experience were truly helpful and gave us a really great perspective. So from a HR standpoint, what would be your key advice for professionals like us for we're navigating our careers, or any final tips from before we conclude? I know you have summarized couple of things, but any valuable last tip from your end you'd like to take with us?
So I would like to add, Gaurav. Sir, people will be watching this video on YouTube and LinkedIn.
Oh.
So you may add for the public also as a whole.
Ultimately it boils down to, Gaurav, how different you are going to be from the pack. Because with AI coming in, opportunities are going to be limited. I'm afraid that is going to happen. Either we will have a situation in the future that Elon Musk said, that people will not have to do anything at all. You will get what you want. Everything will be in abundance, or else there will be scarcity all around. There will be limited opportunities, and you have to be prepared for the worst. So for the worst, the question is, how different is is Kiran from another Kiran? Everyone here might be competing for a limited number of roles. So what is it that makes you stand apart from others? So having that first break is very important. All of you are working, all of you are it's a good thing that you all are working right now, so you have that advantage. You will get opportunities, but then how you grow in those opportunities is also determined by the behavioral attributes that you possess. So behavioral attributes matlab ki you have to be very consistent in what you do. People, आपको ऐसा लगता होगा कि कि अगर मैं थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ के थोड़ा बहुत यहाँ पे बोल दूंगा लोग इंप्रेस हो जाएंगे, लेकिन प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड दैट एवरीवन अंडरस्टैंड्स एवरीवन. ठीक है, अगर मैं रोहित के सामने कुछ बोल दूंगा, रोहित मुझे अच्छे से जानता है क्योंकि रोहित मेरे साथ पिछले 1-2 साल से काम कर रहा है. सो ही नोज वेरी वेल हु आई एम. आई माइट थिंक कि रोहित को नहीं पता है मेरे बारे में कुछ, लेकिन रोहित को सब पता है. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी कंसिस्टेंट इन हाउ यू बिहेव विद पीपल, in how you deal with things, and that consistency can come only over a matter of time. So please, you are bound to make mistakes. Okay, you are आप mistakes करोगे, आप उनसे सीखोगे, it is absolutely normal, but you have to learn from those mistakes and you have to improve. And like I said, how to stand apart from the herd is कि जो बाकी सबके जो traits है उससे अलग करना पड़ेगा. उससे अलग in the sense you have to have more knowledge, you have to have different skills. So if I am at a junior manager level, if I have to become a senior manager, I have to show those competencies of becoming a senior manager. I have to see that Rohit is occupying that senior manager position, और रोहित सर जो हैं उनके में ये capabilities है. अगर मुझे ये बनना है तो मुझे ये उनसे सीखना है और ये मुझे डिस्प्ले करना है. So you will see those things and you have to adapt them as soon as possible. And that is how you can grow in an organization. I learned from my bosses a lot. Today where I am is because of Mr. Himanshu Purohit, because of all the leaders I have worked with. I have learned from each one of them. So from MRF, from people also with whom I have had conflicts. Okay, जिनके साथ मेरा झगड़ा हुआ उनसे भी मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा मैंने. I became a better person. I became a better negotiator. I became a better manager at conflicts because of them. And I learned more about myself from those things. So it is ultimately up to you. I'm sure that all of you are intelligent, more intelligent than me. Okay. It is how you implement those things in practice that is what matters. So that's all I can say, Rohit.
Thank you everyone for joining.